The driver's licence scandal. How 700,000 migrants driving on our roads will never lose their licences. Deaths, crashes, all traffic offences. Why they can't lose a single demerit point. The foreign licence free for all. That foreign drivers are operating under a different set of standards and they can be deadly. David Richardson has this special investigation.
He would have been 13 now. There's a whole range of experiences that he's missed out on and that we've missed out on. And it's not something you ever get over. It's just something that you need to learn to cope with.
This little boy is the human face of a massive road licensing loophole. He'd be alive today if he hadn't been hit and killed by a careless foreign driver. A Greek national simply handed an Australian driver's licence and the right to drive on our roads. Had she done a test?
Apparently not.
So she was licensed to drive in this country and had not even done a basic written test, let alone a driving test.
Correct.
The driver, Paraskevi Kefetsis, was trying to parallel park outside a Melbourne school where she worked when she slammed into 6-year-old Konstantin Politis.
The car then accelerated, mounted the nature strip and pushed him through a fence.
And killed him.
Killed him instantly.
Kefetsis was only charged with careless driving. Her penalty, a $1,200 fine. A coronial inquiry into the accident, finding the licensing system for foreign drivers was completely inadequate. Konstantin's father, Spiro, has been campaigning daily to have foreign drivers properly tested.
That was one of the recommendations the coroner made, was that the licensing system for overseas drivers be reviewed.
Has it?
No.
What has the government done since the death of your son?
Absolutely nothing.
Just sort of absurd to think, you know, that the $200 fine is enough to compensate for not only writing off my car, but really nearly killing me.
19-year-old Alicia Robinson is to be alive, another victim of foreign drivers. She had just entered this busy intersection on a green light when another car ran the red and T-boned her just centimetres in front of her driver's door.
There was glass everywhere and the motor was just smashed in this weird shape and the bonnet was gone and, you know, there was just glass everywhere and my head was bleeding and I just knew I had to get out.
This is what's left of Alicia's car, a total write-off. The offending driver, an Afghani on an international licence. He was charged with running a red light and fined just $200. He didn't lose one demerit point because he had an overseas licence.
We're doing all these things to keep our kids safe, and yet we allow anybody who comes in from overseas onto our roads.
According to immigration figures, more than 700,000 foreigners will come here to study or work temporarily. And if you come from one of 27 countries, like Greece, Croatia, Belgium, Canada, Britain or the United States, to name just a few, and you have a driver's licence, you can simply pay a fee and be given an Australian licence. No test required.
Graceful.
Two sets of rules.
Two sets of rules. One for people who come in off a plane with not one word of English. Do they know what stop, go back, you're going the wrong way means? Do they know what a shared zone means in Australia? That they've got to give way to pedestrians? Do you have a driver's licence?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we see?
Yeah.
Harold Scrooby from the Pedestrian Council randomly selected foreign visitors to check if they had a valid driver's licence.
Ah, you have Australian.
Yeah.
But you don't speak English too well?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. When you came here, did you have international driver's licence?
Sorry.
I'm here. I can get my license easily by phone. Bring them, pay them money, and license is in my hand.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, I want to explain that this is not some edited, abridged, made-for-television version. What you're seeing is the test in its full, unexpurgated glory. And don't worry, it won't take long.
A typical Indian driving test, exposed by Top Gear, a mere few minutes behind the wheel on an empty side street.
Gasp as he dodges, nothing. And stops. and that's it.
In countries like India, China, Pakistan and Bangladesh, getting a driver's licence is this simple. Yet if they come here and drive on an international permit and break our laws, they don't lose one demerit point, they just cop a fine. They're almost immune from our road safety laws.
And by having these other drivers who can just come in and totally disregard the system, it's not safe for anyone, nor is it fair.
Marcus has just got his P plates. He had to do 120 hours driving practice and sit a full driving test. And his restrictions don't end there.
You get about 4 demerit points. You have an alcohol limit of 0. You can't use a phone at all while you're driving, not even hands-free. You're restricted as to what vehicles you can drive, so you can't drive anything with more than a 6-cylinder engine, anything turbocharged or supercharged.
Today Tonight motoring expert John Cadogan believes a special licence for foreign drivers is the only answer.
I wouldn't have thought it was that difficult to stick a licensing regime upon people who are going to be here for a couple of years.
That would include all foreign students, temporary workers and tourists here more than a couple of months. Until that's implemented, temporary visitors are literally above the law.
Every day when I go near that intersection that there's people out there that aren't really fit for our roads at all, it's just really, you know, absurd.
Nothing changes for us, but I believe that there are lessons that should have been learned which haven't been learned because no one's listening.